come, let us sing unto the I Am. Let us make a joyful noise unto the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. For the I Am is a great God, a great King above all gods. In his hand are deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the I Am, our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hands. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your heart, as in the day of provocation, as in the day of temptation in the wilderness. When your fathers tempted me and proved me and saw my work, 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways, unto whom I swear in my wrath, they should not enter into my rest. Deliver me from the hands of Psalms chapter 95. Yes. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits, who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you that are on this media channel. Yes, we thank God for you. Yes, we give God the glory and the praise. And also we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you who have been with us here and thereafter, and those of you who have just subscribed, and those of you who are about to subscribe, even those of you who are just viewing. We thank the Most High for you. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. And also we give all praise, all glory, and all honor to him that created all things to possess all time and matter. Yes, him who loved us more than we loved ourselves. And if he would judge us after our own sin, we all would not be here. And we thank God for that. Yes, we're in 2 Kings chapter 17, and we ended at verse 24, I believe. But we're going to start with verse 25. Now, he says, now, he proved them. See, that goes hand in hand. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And they erred in the wilderness many times over. He says now, they use this in the New Testament, so-called New Testament, or should I say fake testament. They use the same verse 8 in Psalm 95, verse 8 and 9, or it's verse 7 and 8. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your heart. The fact is, the voice of Jesus is not the voice of God. Now, God has spoken directly to Israel. They couldn't stand it because of the sin that was in them, the ulterior motives that were in many of them. Some wanted to hear God, some don't. Just as today, we rather hear a soft-spoken message and a message of sociality and how our girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife cheating and all these other things, rather than that which is that can just remove all of that. I mean, it can cause your troubles to go away. But we've hardened our hearts because we refuse to hear what God is saying to our hearts. And that is commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. Yes, that is. Now, he says, for those who would do such a thing, he said, you're not going to enter into us. The rest was the land of Canaan. That's where they should have rested. They would have done what the Most High says. And today, even if we decide to shun all things that seem good, look good, smell good, whatever, if we begin to do those things that are contained in his laws, commandments, ordinances, and the statutes, according to as we can in the land, because this land is given on to the wicked, even the heathen. They have changed the times, they have changed the laws. He's talking about the commandments, statutes, and ordinances. This New Testament is what God is talking about. They changed it to cause you to sin and lose out on your salvation and that you might not enter into the rest of the Most High, which is the Sabbath. We practice those things every Sabbath, and we trust that your Sabbath has been beautiful, that you have rested, and that God has really given you a blessed time. Yes, 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 yes. We thank God for that. And also I thank God for those. I've talked to a friend in Uganda that is going through appendicitis, or whatever you want to call it, appendix. The appendix had to be taken out. I pray mostly for that person that they would, recover greatly. And they look so bad. They say, I hurt, but regardless, regardless, ailments are going to hurt. But we thank God for that one that would cause, and even that they would still thank and praise God on their sick bed, regardless of it's just a routine surgery. I thank God, just as my grandmother did. She was on a sick bed. Although she didn't know better, she was just praising God, giving God the glory and the praise for all that he has done. Excuse me. And those things we ought to do, regardless of the pain and the suffering that we might encounter. Those Sephardic, who they call Sephardic Jews down in going through the Great Inquisition of Rome and the Catholicism. And we have to realize that even those of you who call yourself Muslims or Islamists, that religion, just as Christianity, it derived from Christian, should I say, terrorism, to put it correctly. I mean, you have to realize they were spreading the whole world, and then these same people turned around and started trying to spread theirs just as the Christians were. And it's turned into a clash. Because you notice even the angel talks about the people of the book. He's talking about the Catholic Church. It's not talking about those peoples that are of the book, that are after the seed of Abraham, the seed of Jacob. Yes. It's not talking about them. It's talking about those who have perverted even the way of the Most High. Because he doesn't need any sons. He doesn't need those. That's just Greek terminology and those things that have been put there. And over time we've accepted those things. But then if you go and listen to the people of that day that had that teaching, they would look at it and say, what are these people talking about? It's not what it's supposed to say. Look at what they do, how things change in the Bible from verse to verse, and how we've discovered even in the book of 2 Kings chapter, I believe 16, how that they changed just from saying the Israelites or Israel or the children to Jews. Jews is a made up terminology for those of Judah. Israel, now we're getting back into the 2 Kings chapter 17. And we're starting with where Israel was caught up. Israel had sinned, just like their parents did back in the wilderness, even as the Psalm says. Write that Psalms down, and as we go through, you'll see a lot of things. Things start popping out the Bible, and you start seeing the lies. You start seeing where the word is twisted. This is why it's so important that you understand and know God, that you understand and know his laws is very important. Even so that you may be able to withstand in the day of your temptation, in the time where the Satans are setting you up to sin against the Most High. It's enough to have it in your heart, but after it's finished, that saying is true. You're totally separated from the Most High. So the Most High does not hear you when sin is in your heart. It's up to you to know his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances in order that sin may be identified and you can work through it and pray and just call out scriptures. For these are the only thing that's going to go again. You cannot take secular thought and secular, or should I say Christianity or anything else to avert sin. Nothing but his law. Even the Bible says that the law of the Most High is pure, making wise the simple. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, even sweeter than the honey of the honeycomb. Yes, all blessing be upon the Most High. Yes, who blesses all. Our blessings to him is that we live a life of righteousness according to the laws, statutes, ordinances, and the commandments of the Most High. Yes, 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 25. And it reads, now you have to realize they have been, Israel has been doing the things just as the children. Oh, I did lose a tooth there. I lost a tooth, so you can excuse that if it's hideous to you. But I have a ways to go. I want to lose one more before I actually I'm about to sneeze, but it's about to come about. I'm trying to sneeze. Oh, but either way, here we go. The king of Assyria took the children of Israel, the 10 tribes of Israel, and took them into the land of the Medes and the Persians. That's where they settled at. Now, you have to realize the Medes and the Persians, some of those people were Israelites. But the tribe of Judah didn't join them until later. Judah and Benjamin. Much later did they join their brethren. And it's kind of ironic how that even during the time of the Persian period, should I say, that some of those people many times were their own brethren that persecuted them in Persia. Yes, it was their own brethren. Now, at some point in time, Persia, Syria, and all the rest of it turned white. It lightened up for some odd reason. And that there is, God has to show a person, but even if he showed you, many will not believe it. So if he showed you, it's just something he's relaying between you and him. Now, in verse 25, and so it was at the beginning of their dwelling place that they feared not the I Am. Therefore the I Am sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed, the place in the cities of Samaria. Now you have to realize this place wasn't always desert. It wasn't always dry. It wasn't always solitary until after God started removing Israel out of the land. We have to realize that even the Sahara Desert was at one time green and lush. It's not no millions of years. You got to dodge the hijacks. These people study and find things just to get monies from their governments to study and keep studying and coming up with things and using, ludicrous things to prove their point. Now, it says, wherefore they spake to the king of Syria, the nations which, in verse 26, which thou hast removed, and the places in the city of Samaria, know not the manner of the God of the land. They forgot to teach their children. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of God, the God of the land. He's talking about the land of Israel. And the king of Assyria mandate, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye thought brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of God, the God of the land. And one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, means house of God, and taught them how they should fear the I Am. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made in every nation in their cities where therein there dwelt, doing after the heathen. Many of you have gone on to Christianity instead of shunning all those things of Christianity and the Islamic religion. Because we do not worship Jesus, neither do we even include Muhammad or the angels in the things of God. They're not that. God says those things, and those things that we hear that God says are contained in his law, though that is which where Moses heard the voice of the Most High, not the voice of Gabriel, not the voice of Jesus or Paul or Silas. It comes from that. If it does not jive with the law, it is heresy. It is a lie, period. And these things can be proven that if you live that which is right before even his first commandments, not putting any other gods before him, and also not bowing down before them as the heathen do, you're going according to paganism. These are the first things God hates. The first things God hates is paganism. The second, next to that, is how you treat who he created. One law, I always say, you're going to hear me say this all the time. One law for the Gentile and one law for the Israelite. We ain't talking no Jews, that's made up. But either way, the king of Assyria commanded, said, carry thither one of the priests. They needed a priest because it was up to the priest to read to them each daily, daily, weekly, whatever, to read to them the laws that they may not forget. Deuteronomy means remember. Remember. And verse 29, howbeit every nation made gods of their own and put them in the houses. They didn't care. They put God behind their back, as one of the scriptures says in 1 Kings. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Havites and the Nibhaz and Tartak and the Sepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adrimelech and to Anamelech and the gods of the Sepharvaim. These are gods that they have made up. No spirit or no man or no whatever you call them can replace what God has commanded his people and all that should come, even the stranger. Nothing. And when you get out of your matrix as far as your wanting to know the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you have to remove yourself from these they call the Abrahamic faith. Even Judaism, you have to remove yourself from them and just obey his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. Reading to your families, your wives or wife, daily. Reading to your children daily the things that he have commanded us to do. We have to do these things. For this, the lack of reading to them and the lack of reminding them of the things that God says and introducing them to the things that God have commanded us, can easily slip us. Now, let us continue. And so they feared the I Am and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed them for them in the houses of the high priest. In other words, they made priests out of it, just like you got in these different religions. They have priests, they have imams. Some of these are the lowest people. People who don't care, people who, you even have them in Christianity, the lowest people who try to tell you, pay your tithes, but don't obey the rest of the commandments. Worship Jesus, who is after a man who not even, nobody knows whether he's God or whether he's, they even throw Joseph out the whole equation and put Mary as a man. And even to the point where we even call females bro. It has gotten so much, we can't even call a female sister. It's gotten so far-fetched. A woman is not a man, neither is she a brother. She's not a brother, she's a sister or she's a female. She's either aqua, as some of you call them, and a man is an ak. Yes, means brother, sister. The words have been twisted. Good is evil and evil is good in this late day and time. And these same priests, same preachers, same imams, same all kind of people There's nothing wrong with calling the name Allah. That means God, period. God. There's nothing wrong with saying, Inshallah, if God wills. It's okay. But the fact is, know who you're talking to. God has many pronunciations in different languages. We cannot just narrow it down to English, German, or Russian, or whatever. The Caucasians, or should I say, the Caucasian nations. We can't do that. He has many names in many languages. Many names in many languages. God can be named anything. Sanini Nanini Tata Nzambi. Hiya. He's known that he don't need no Jesus to try to spread himself all over the world. God was already known all over the world from the first time. During the time of Moses, God was known. But he chose a nation to be an example unto the world. And they failed because they failed to keep that law and teach that law and remind each other of the law. Now they have priests, hideous people, who goes to one of the, should I say, rap artist parties. Hideous preachers that love little boys and little girls. Hideous preachers, priests, imams, that try to control the people according to their own lust. To get women to sit in the front of the church. Tell them not to wear any underwear. Just sit there while he muses himself on the sight in front of him. Hideous preachers that would call a man's wife into a back room and say he has what they called unholy milk. But the man is so foolish to see that this person is taking out his liberty on his own wife. Against all commandments, this person, according to the law, the commandments of the Most High, should be put to death. Period. And let's put this in perspective. He says now, they feared the I am and served the ungods. 34. So with whom the I am made a covenant and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourself to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. Their chief sin was serving other gods, just as we do today. But this whole thing is really challenges us every day. It challenges us. This tooth is causing me to stutter in my words. But the I am who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, him shall ye worship, him shall ye do sacrifice. See, this thing never changed. It never changed. And the statutes and ordinances and the law and the commandment which he wrote for you, you shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods, powers, entities. There shouldn't be no angel telling you nothing different from what the Most High says. If you want to follow an example of one of the prophets or whatever, it's okay. As far as prayer, as far as sacrificing, as far as how you dedicate yourself to the Most High. If it please God, if you do it after that same prophet or person you've read about, it will please God in that area too. I ain't talking about that. Well, we'll just eradicate the New Testament. Just put it out. Some of you still can't get out of it for the matrix that you're in, and you think that I'm telling you something wrong. No, you've been set up. Just as slavery have messed up your mind into hating yourself, so has these different entities and these major religions have caused you to be so embedded in the matrix that you cannot come out. This is why Daniel saw the image that he saw. And the ram and the he-goats and all these other people that Daniel saw. This was the matrix. The people could not come out of it. It was idolatry. The whole thing was about idolatry. The goats and everything is what they worship. Goats and rams and cows and all kind of mess. Just because you're a Christian or all that and you see others worshiping things, you're just as guilty as they are because you're worshiping a man. You cannot see for liquor, and God cannot show you, for you have been so, your mind is so bad. Even as Paul said, he said a truth, that your mind has been so sneered with in hot iron, you cannot see his laws, commandments, ordinances, and statutes. You cannot see these things. It's a lie. It's hideous. They're too hard. God's laws are not grievous. How can you say out of sweet and bitter come out of one mouth? He said these things, huh? But yet they twisted it. Yes, there were some people back in that day. There was a man, a prophet or whatever. There was somebody back in that day. But the New Testament ain't it. To tell you the truth, it's not it. He didn't rise on the third day. No. If that's the case, then it's passed from Elisha to another man that they throwed in the grave with him, and he rose up and he came to life. Would you call him a Messiah? Come on here. He says, but the I am in verse 39, ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. This is the secret. Burkina Faso, the Sahel as a whole, Niger, and all those that would join them. This is your deliverance. But the I am your God, Allah your God, Ya Allah your God, for those of you who see that way. But for those of you that Christianity, forsake that, throw it out, the burden of New Testament, whatever you got to do. But the fact is, when you turn your faith to the Most High, even the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, there's only one law. God don't need any counselor. He don't need no son standing by his side. No, he does not. He don't need no one to instruct him. No, no, no. He said, he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit, they did not hearken, but did after their former manner. And this is the things today. This is the thing today. People will not hear the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinance of the Most High. Of all these religions and beliefs and denominations of these religions, they will not hear it. And God has made it so that he might choose a people who will not be swayed by devils, will not be swayed by idolatry in no shape, form, or fashion, but have purpose that they should, and it's going to be very few according to the vision of Daniel. For out of all these people who say, oh, we can all get to God, you do it your way, I do it my way. Out of all these people, there's going to be a small remnant that shall smash the feet of that idol that Daniel saw and grind it to powder. Yes, just one people. You can talk all you want, but God has a plan. If you're going to enter into his rest, as the Psalm says, you're going to have to obey the commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws of the Most High regardless, even if it costs your life. And with that, we will have peace.
Walk with me.